Good evening, racing fans. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. As you know, this episode brought to you, proudly sponsored by betting.co.uk. And I'm back with 4 selections for you for tomorrow's racing over at Bangor-On-Dee. We've got a pretty decent day of jumps action. And I've managed to get 4 selections together, which I do think could be worth a second look in the market. Now, even though I've got 4 selections for you for tomorrow's racing, these are advised as singles only, quite simply due to the nature of these races. They're not necessarily the sort of selections that you want to be putting in your multiples. However, the idea with these 4 is that come the end of the day, we do have some profit to take into Thursday's action. Now, with the better racing start to open up in the next few weeks, I do have a lot more Cheltenham content start to come out again, like we did last season, and we can really start getting stuck into the good stuff with loads of guests lined up for every single week of the series. But looking ahead to tomorrow's action, we'll start again with the 235. We've got a pretty decent handicap chase here over 2 mile 1 furlongs, and this is quite an interesting race here because the top 3 in the weights definitely look standout selections here, and I guess it's just which one of the 3 do you fancy. But the top weight here is Heroes de Motier for Donald McCain. Very much a nice sort here, very consistent as well, but it doesn't necessarily look like there's too much improvement left in this runner. So even though he's consistent enough, he is starting to look a little bit exposed, and that does worry me over the 2 mile 1 furlong trip. Pittsburgh is a really interesting runner here for the Ryan Potter team, but I think he could do with possibly going up a little bit in trip, particularly on this surface. And the one I find most reliable here is going to be Gambi T8, who, even though he unseated Bo Morgan last time out, he's a very good exuberant jumper, a seriously good traveller, and he's a very keen sort over 2 mile 3 furlongs last time out. So dropping back to 2 mile 1, I think Bo's going to be able to let him go. He'll bowl out in front, jump really well, and I think he's going to be really hard to catch. At the moment, he is 13 to 8 in the market. Maybe a touch too short at this point in time, but if you wait till a bog in the morning, I think this one will drift. I don't imagine it'll go too much shorter, but that's Gambi T8 for Ben Pauling in the 235. Then in the Mares Novice Hurdle, the 335 again, some pretty nice horses here in this lineup. Queen Antoinette hasn't ran for nearly 900 days for Emma Laval, and I'd like to see her come back and put a really good performance back in here in this field again. I don't think she's going to have enough to win the race, but coming back off that break, I hope she gets out here, runs a good race, and gets home sound, because she did actually show some pretty nice ability in her first run, going back nearly 3 years. Vive de Charny is going to be a nice one as well when she eventually sees a fence for Lucinda Russell, but I think the one to side with is going to be Drumley Spud, who was beaten at odds on last time out for Ben Pauling on debut, but she was beaten by quite a decent sort who's got form that ties in with Little Peter and Constitution's half-brother Langini. So there's definitely some significance to that form, and she did show plenty of ability in behind. And if she knew, I think, that there was a horse with that ability going up against the last time out, I think tactics may have been ridden a little bit differently. So I think at 9 to 4, Drumley Spud with that experience is a really good bet in the 335. Okay, then we'll take a look at the 405 at Bangor-On-Dee. Now, this is a really interesting handicap here. Quite a tricky one to figure out. A 2 mile 7 furlong handicap hurdle. Plenty of decent sorts in this race as well. Ballycammers has probably got a big chance on his best form, and Twiston Davis and the team seemingly in very good form at the moment. So if you catch him on a good day, he's got every opportunity to go quite close here, as does Oliver's Travels here for Peter Byrne, who I think has probably got the best form in the book at this point in time. But there is just one I fancy a little bit more, and that's Morricone here for Margaret Mullins and Danny Mullins, who significantly comes over to Bangor-On-Dee for just the one ride tomorrow. Previously not shown too much form, however, in his last 2 starts, he's taken a massive step forward. And even though he's taken a hike in the weights, he looks well handicapped in this particular race near the bottom of the weights. And the fact that Danny Mullins has come over for this one ride is very significant indeed. Now, this one as well is 7 to 2 at this point in time, but I would probably advise waiting for bog on this one tomorrow as well, as you may well get a little bit of a drift. And if you can get this one at sort of 5 to 1 in a tricky affair, you could have a little bit of a scummy each way bet at 5 to 1. 7 to 2 at the moment, though, just expecting a possible drift. And then in the 505, you've got a Maiden Hurdle, and I think there's a pretty decent horse in here for the Ollie Murphy team. Act of Authority, who has finished runner-up on both of his previous starts, but to 2 really good horses, and a repeat performance of either of those would make him really hard to beat here indeed. This looks like a perfect opportunity for him to finally break his maiden, and then he can go off into Novice Hurdle company from there. So I think he's quite a standout bet. You can get 13 to 8 about him at the moment. And that's plenty of value with the credentials that he has on offer as well. So a quick recap of those selections. We've got Gamby T8 in the 235. We've got Drumley Spud in the 335. Morricone in the 405. Then Active Authority in the 505, which will be my nap selection if you can get the 13 to 8. But I'm pretty just as keen on Gamby T8 as well for tomorrow. So thanks for everyone for tuning in. I'll be back again tomorrow with some selections for Thursday's racing. Please don't forget to hit subscribe if you're able to on this video. It's completely free to do so, and you really will be doing me a massive favour. So thank you in advance to anybody who can do that, and hopefully I can pay you back with some nice winners for Wednesday's racing. But see you all tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye for now.